I'm going to walk you through some of the um, lab directions, right? So in order to get to the lab and know what you are doing, you're going to open up your daily grid on Canvas and go to the lab button, right? We're on week 2. We're in the green section. So we're on lab. And when I open this up, I'm going to go ahead and click it on slideshow just so it looks nicer for you. We are going to do the zombie hand warmers together because there's so many chemicals involved in it and the temperature gets really high. And then I'm also going to do the applying change lab with you guys. We haven't really done a lot of labs like this, so I think it'll be good for us to kind of just practice what are our norms and expectations, what are our class promises, and how do they apply. The rest of these are going to be available to you. The supplies are going to be busted out per shelf in our closet and labeled. And then the directions themselves, you can click on the link here. I also have printed directions for you. So I'm going to go through and actually show you the applying change lab. Okay, so this is the one that we're going to be doing together. If you look, I can actually click on applying change. Again, I'm going to put it in slideshow mode, right? So we're trying to, with this lab, trying to understand how temperature is affected when you basically when you mess with an object, right? So that's when you're applying change. So you want to be able to include kinetic energy and molecular movement in your descriptions today. So keep those words in your brain. The types of change that we're going to talk about in our lab are friction, the bending, exposure to a lamp, and your body heat. So those are kind of the ways that we're going to apply it. There are going to be 4 stations, right? So in your lab packet, you are going to end up with station 1, station 2, station 3, station 4. They're all labeled nicely for you. And you just have a few guiding questions, okay? So station 1, do living things produce energy? So you guys are going to actually go through. You have a hand warmer. It is going to also give you in the palm of your hand directions on this lab. Okay, so when you follow the directions, you're going to have a hand boiler. You keep it upright. At first, you're going to end up making observations without touching your materials. That's kind of the way it goes in all 4 stations. Don't touch the materials until you make observations and record them. Okay, because clearly you're trying to figure out how things change when you mess with them. So you need to record the before, right? Those are your observations. Then mess with them. Then record those observations. So it's very important that you follow those directions. Don't touch anything in your lab until you make your initial observations. Okay, so don't touch it. Record what you see. Then it says predict what you think will happen if you hold this hand boiler in your hand for 30 seconds, right? And then ask you to actually do it and then record your observations. Okay, so that's station 1. Station 2, does paper absorb energy? Okay. We also know our paper does not absorb any liquid. We have really horrible paper towels here at school, but now we're trying to figure out if they actually absorb energy. Maybe they're better at doing that. So we have station 2 directions, right? It's going to look like this. You got a little table here to fill out, right? Station 2, predict what will happen to the temperature of the paper when you place each piece. You're going to have a black piece of paper and a white piece of paper under a lamp. So you make your predictions, okay? The table itself has you recording temperatures before you turn on the lamp. So make sure that you're doing those things because once you turn the lamp on, you're messing with all of your data. So follow those examples. And then at the bottom, there are questions for you to answer after you've done that little station, okay? Moving on. Station 3, does friction affect thermal energy? Hopefully by now you already know, but they are giving you a way to kind of dive a little bit further into it. So your prediction on this one, predict what will happen to the temperature of the wood when you rub the wood with sandpaper. So for the most part, we've used these examples in all of my small groups. Obviously, friction is going to increase the temperature. So your prediction needs to be more than, I predict the temperature will increase, or I predict it will get hot. How many degrees? Make a good guess, okay? And then, again, with your table, it's asking you to document the temperature of the wood and the sandpaper before the friction's applied, before rubbing them together, okay? So make sure that you're taking temperatures before you mess with these products, okay? And then your answer at the end of the station is you're just comparing the initial temperature to the end temperature, and then talk about what effect it had on it. And then station 4, how does motion affect energy? So predict what will happen to the temperature of wire. I'm going to give you guys a long piece of wire. When you bend it back and forth, okay, do you think that it's going to stay the same? Do you think it's going to increase the temperature? Do you think it's going to decrease the temperature? So that's your prediction. And again, just like in the other ones, there's a table here. Record the temperature of the wire before bending and then after bending, and explain what happened. Cool. So in all 4 stations, stop, make observations, record temperatures if you need to, and then mess with your product. You guys are going to have reflection questions that are at the back of the page. That's what I would like for you to do at the end of your lab today, just to kind of really reinforce the learning target and the purpose for the labs today. My one thing, make sure you clean up your station when you're done with it. It should look like it did when you first got there, or better. Actually, you should always leave things better than where you found them. Keep an eye on your time. Okay, you get 5 minutes per station. That's way more time than you'll probably need. Keep an eye on your time. It's not just go to a station, play around, and then whenever I say time, panic, go to your new station and do the paperwork from your old station. Like, keep stuff rolling on time at your station so you don't fall behind, because the paperwork and the documentation of your temperature is really what is important today. And then the final thing, stay at your stations, right? Stay at your stations. Don't wander around. Don't use materials inappropriately. We're going to have some glass out. So again, with any kind of labs, I'm observing if we can't